Endless sets, more than 7 minutes per set, more than 100 squats per set, everything to failure, with wild drop sets, partials, assisted reps, more than 10 training sessions a week. Is this discipline or is it sabotaging progress? Indeed, Joan Pradells, after so much time, is back to his old ways. And not only that, but he's getting worse. Today we'll review his latest wild training videos, and I'll analyze them using basic hypertrophy principles. Volume, intensity, frequency, mechanical tension, technique, execution with a solid foundation. Before we start, this is not a personal attack. Joan Pradells is someone who trains extremely hard with an incredible work ethic, one of the most impressive I've ever seen. He has a pretty remarkable physique, which of course keeps improving, but not as much as it could in my opinion. Just because he's disciplined and has strong willpower doesn't mean he's always doing things optimally. This channel is informational, educational, and opinion-based, and that's our focus in today's video. Sometimes he uploads his full workouts or almost the full thing, and other times he only uploads part of them. But I've been sharing some things that have really surprised me. Like the fact that he does 10 workouts a week. I mean, a week has 7 days, but Joan, look, he does 10 workouts in 7 days. It also surprised me that he does 7-minute sets on the leg press, doing rest pauses, drop sets, and whatever they feel like, with an insignificant amount of weight. And also the sets he's been posting of 100 bodyweight squats on the Smith machine, which literally turns into cardio. There are a lot of problems here, and we're going to go through them one by one. The first issue is excessive training volume. Joan has said it many times. He can easily do between 30 to 50 sets per muscle group per session. This is crazy. Effective volume has a limit. We have to apply the principle of diminishing returns. Put simply, with just 3 or 4 sets, you already achieve 80% of the gains. Let's say with 4 sets. If you do double, you don't get double the gains. You might get maybe 10% more. Doubling that, which is 4 times the original amount, only adds about 5% more. It's something like that. Alright, effective volume is achieved easily, and no matter how much you do, it's not going to be better. The more volume you add, the more the real mechanical tension of the sets drops. You're not doing more useful work, you're doing more sets with less stimulus and accumulating fatigue. This is commonly called junk volume, and I can say that almost all of Joan's training is junk volume. To get 5% more gains, he's generating, 4 times more wear and tear. Next problem. Everything to failure and poorly used. Every set to failure with partials, with assistance, with drop sets. Failure has to be just another tool, not the foundation of your training. Using it in every set significantly decreases your performance. If everything is to failure, it's impossible for everything to be of the highest quality. We know that the greatest hypertrophy gains are achieved close to failure, even going to failure, but that's also when you get the most fatigue. Adenosine triphosphate is completely depleted, metabolites accumulate, lactate, phosphate, calcium is altered during muscle contraction, inflammation is created, and there's wear and tear on the muscle fibers. And if you go to failure excessively, you're going to cause pain, soreness. A need for repair that will significantly exceed what the body can handle, even leading to burning or losing muscle. Going to failure is fine from time to time, but you can't base your training on 50 sets with forced reps, partials, assisted reps, failing, and doing 5 drop sets per set. That's just crazy. And this brings us to what I mentioned at the beginning. A 7-minute leg press set with multiple drop sets. Each drop means less weight. The less weight, the less mechanical tension. It turns into a set that's basically cardio with weights. Joan Pradells is training like it's body pump. The longer the set lasts, the less real tension you're generating. It happens when you struggle against a load, especially medium and heavy loads close to muscle failure, for a sufficient amount of time. You achieve much more tension with heavy weights. When you use heavy loads, lifted explosively and lowered slowly and in a controlled way, and you go close to failure or to failure, you achieve maximum mechanical tension. You can reach it by going very close to failure or even beyond failure, yes. But it's not the same to do 10 squats with 80% as it is to do 50 with 30%. In such a long set like 7 minutes or 1, 2 or 3 like Joan's sets usually last, the initial mechanical tension is quite low. The cardiovascular and metabolic fatigue is extreme. Every set basically turns into a struggle to breathe, to not suffocate, and your heart will be working to the point of bursting. In such long sets, there is too much wear and tear for so little stimulus. Since type 2 fibers, the ones we're interested in, the strong ones with the most hypertrophy potential, are recruited very late. This can be achieved what? In the last 20 seconds of the set if you want. But the other 1, 2, or 3 minutes you put in are just cardio work that's not interesting for hypertrophy, where you first use the cheap fibers, so you understand me, the resistant ones. And if you did a set, it's between 6 and 12 reps if you want, to failure, or with a drop set, with more weight, and you would reach that mechanical tension I mentioned much sooner. With more weight, more control over the negative, and reaching failure in 40 seconds. Not to mention that it would take half the time to train, and in every way that's an advantage. Various studies agree that the most optimal number of repetitions for hypertrophy is medium to high, let's say between 3 and 20 if you want. Beyond that, it's way out of range for hypertrophy. It's practically aerobic training. The next problem is poor technique, especially for muscle groups that require a lot of control and very precise technique to work, such as the lats, the trapezius, middle traps, and even the chest. With poor execution, other muscles usually take over, like the shoulders or arms, which coincidentally are Joan's best developed areas. Technique with jerking, little control, and poor negatives, which is where most hypertrophy gains happen and allows you to reach failure much sooner without having to do sets of 50 or 100 reps. Without the eccentric phase, there's less stimulus, more momentum, and less muscle work for the group you want to target. Not to mention the strain on tendons and ligaments and, in the long run, the serious problems this will cause. As a result of all this, we have to talk about recovery. It's practically impossible, inhuman. I don't believe it. No matter how much you sleep, eat, or take medication, it's almost impossible to fully recover 100% from this kind of wear and tear. Extreme wear and tear at the muscular level, muscles full of metabolites worn out, completely depleted of adenosine triphosphate depleted, tendons and ligaments that take the longest to recover with brutal wear and tear. An accumulated fatigue at the nervous system and central level, which must generate a stress in the body that I can't even imagine. All of this helps you improve, helps you grow. Yes, I've said it many times. Joan improves because he puts in an unmatched work ethic. He puts in an effort that no one else can reach. But as I've said many times, he doesn't improve because of his training. He improves in spite of his training. He sleeps well, eats well, takes good supplements, but the training leaves much to be desired, and it's one of the most important pillars. I think he could improve just as much or even more, wearing himself out less and putting less strain on his arm. We all know other bodybuilders, both open and classic, who improve consistently and solidly, training 1/10 as much as Joan. When you look at the bodybuilders who are at the top of the Olympia, whether open or classic, it's not that much, not that wild, not that many sets, not that much to failure, and certainly not with those techniques. Joan has trained with Mr. Olympia. He's trained with world top athletes who have told him everything is the same, but he still sticks to his special magic method. Where would this guy be already if he trained differently? Where will he be in a few years if he keeps training like this? What would I do in his place? Well, basically what other bodybuilders do. Less training volume, higher quality, with controlled execution, slower negatives, better technique, no jerking or using momentum. Medium and heavy weights, sets of 6 sets of 8 sets of 15 sets of 20. If you want, make them last at most between 40 seconds and a minute and a half, not 7-minute sets. Go close to failure, sometimes drop sets, but with strategy. Training harder isn't the same as training better. If your training always feels like torture, it's likely not optimal, since you're either creating more stimulus or just building up fatigue. I'm not a fan of always doing what most people do, but when almost all the top bodybuilders in the world train one way and you train the opposite, something's off. And you know what? This is going to stay exactly the same, because he's very stubborn and doesn't listen to what others tell him, even if it's a Mr. Olympia telling him. And he posted this on his Instagram. I'm happy sharing my progress at the gym, and then someone who looks overweight, eating chips on their couch, comes out saying, "Ah, you have bad technique." But he's absolutely right. And I have it, since I train hard and have a good physique, and I don't eat chips or am overweight, and so do the bodybuilders and the Mr. Olympias who do the opposite of what he does. So, everything is going to stay exactly the same. Will he be able to win a pro show like this? Yes, he'll achieve it sooner or later. Will he be able to go to the Olympia? Yes, but he could achieve it sooner, better, with a better physique, with less wear and tear, with fewer long-term consequences if he did things differently. I don't think he'll reach his full potential because of his stubbornness and continuing to do things this way. I'll repeat, this is an opinion video based on basic training principles, not an attack on him. I have nothing against him and don't even dislike him. And what do you guys think? What's your opinion about all this? That's all for today. Aries YT Bodybuilding signing off. See you next time.